Hey guys, it's me, Huffy, your bear, back at it again, and today is gonna be the penultimate's not the right word, but the first episode of the Huffy and Bone Show. We're gonna do this little podcast together. It's something I've always wanted to do, never got around to doing it because time, attention, life, things happen. But my buddy Bones here has been wanting to do a podcast for a while, and after we talked about it, we decided, you know what? F it. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's get started with it. So yeah, I'm gonna introduce you to Bones here, the man, the myth, the legend, Lord of Smite, and Lord of Overwatch, King of the mid lane. Please tell us how you're doing, man.
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So I'm sure some people already know me a little bit by now. Not to brag or anything, but I do stream, so they know kind of a little bit more about me, about my taste in games, what I'm
Uh-huh.
about. Please let the people know what's your history with games. What's your favorite game of all time?
Oh, my favorite game of all time is Sly 2,
Slide
Band of
Two.
Thieves.
That was a PS2 title.
Oh, yeah.
I can't say I've ever played a Sly. And you
Oh,
started gaming when?
um, God, I don't know. Probably when I was like 8.
Eight. Yeah,
Probably,
you
maybe
started
even
early.
younger. Yeah, my parents had an N64 that my my dad got from my mom for an anniversary gift. Um, so we had that, and then my uncle gave us our first PlayStation 1, and that's where I played the X-Men fighting game. Remember the one that we talked about?
Oh yeah, X Men, Mutant Academy 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
do
the little
remember
side
those.
scroller fighting, 2D fighting.
Yeah.
I've had that. Yeah, and then we got a PS2, PS3. Never owned an Xbox, thankfully.
Damn,
Um,
bro. We don't do
yeah.
that here, man. No console warning here, right?
Okay. All right. Crossplay is everything,
Crossplay is everything, and multi-platform is the way to go, in my humble opinion.
unless you're Rockstar.
Unless you're Rockstar, and then like I guess PC doesn't matter until it's too late.
Mm.
Anyway, today we are going to be going over Dragon's Dogma 2. We've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and I know it's still, I think, in the cultural zeitgeist, or in the either. People are still playing it, people are still talking about it. Uh, Not as popping as like the first couple of weeks or whatever, but it's still out there, and I've had some thoughts on it. Bones has had some thoughts on it. We wanted to talk a little bit about it, so yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right in it, man. What are your thoughts on DD2? Did you enjoy it?
Well, I just pulled it up on my Steam. I have 65 and a half hours in it. Um, Made it all the way through. I made one complete playthrough, hit as much stuff as I could, and then got into New Game Plus, and then jumped all around the map again. So I mean, I put a lot of time into it.
Yeah.
Obviously, some stuff that I missed, like everybody, but
For just to put this out there, guys, this will be a spoilered episode. We are going to talk about spoilers in this for Dragon's Dogma 2. I understand it just came out, but this is your warning, guys. We're going to be talking
yeah,
about spoilers here.
all the way to the end.
Okay, first off, I'm going to gush. Dude, what'd you think when you went through it, and then all of a sudden it changed from saying Dragon's Dogma in the menu until into Dragon's Dogma 2?
I never got it.
You
I
never
never
got
got
it.
it.
Oh,
Nope.
that's right.
I never got the real ending. I thought I did because the first time I walked in, he gave me the option, just like in the original. He gave you the option to walk out, and and I chose to walk out.
Man, like that, has that inspired you to like just jump back in it, or you think you're a little bit burnt out? Because I get burnt out myself if I kind of know life a game.
Well, I want to go through it again and then get to the final area, just because of how much I was enjoying when I was going through it. My favorite part was just getting a quest objective and then going in a certain direction, and then just running around doing as much as I can, finding all the different camps and all the dungeons. So I really want to go back through and then rush through it so that way I can experience more of the exploration part, even if it is for that little condensed amount of time that you get.
Exploration is key. That's one thing the game did super well, I think, that other games haven't done so hot, to be honest. Like, as much as I loved Elden Ring and, like, it was really fascinating, just jump into a new area, see new environments, new enemies, kind of see what the history of the world is. In Dragon's Dogma 2, it's a little bit different because honestly, like if I argue Elden Ring's a bit harder, but danger really lurks around every corner in Dragon's Dogma 2, and the fights are a little bit more exciting as well. Dude, just going into a forest and seeing a
Super cinematic.
random minotaur pop up, terrifying, especially at the lower levels. Terrifying.
Oh, I wouldn't even try to fight him really at the beginning because I would just end up getting tossed around. Whenever you'd go fight an ogre, and it would just reach down and pick you up. Because I like to play the casters, and I'd always end up running through my stamina, getting run up on, and then just tossed around. Like with the wolves, when they grab you by the neck and drag you away and just rip you apart as a pack.
Oh, dude, that was one of my peeves, my cons with Dragon's Dogma 2 was the fact that I feel like it kind of takes your agency as a player away a little bit. I don't know if that's like a dumb way of describing it, but you're right. When the wolves pounce on you and drag you away from your pawn, so you have to be rescued, or when the harpies pick you up and drop you off
Oh
like
yeah, well
off a cliff.
that one's always lethal. Well, I was always running with a mage because I didn't want to be a healer and I didn't want my main pawn to be it. Um, but I always wanted to make sure that I didn't have to worry about health potions. So I would mash the help button, and my healer would just run over to me and then cast the healing spell on top of me, so I wouldn't die. I would just be stuck in an endless loop of getting torn apart by the wolves.
I feel like that's happened to me too, and dude, I think we've spoken on this before, but I'll bring this up here. So in case anyone has played and they don't know, you can kind of break the game a little bit because you can pause the menu and heal while you're at 0 health, and if you do it within a certain amount of time, the game won't end for you. You won't die. You'll start healing like almost immediately, and you can kind of stave off death like that in certain parts. I think I'd say argue most of the game actually you can do it that way.
I think as long as you do it before you hit the ground, I think you'll save yourself. Because I didn't even I was getting quick with it where I'd hold down my left bumper and then hit the up button, and then I would get real quick, and then before you'd hit the ground, I would always heal up, and then I would just stand back up.
Oh, dude, yeah, I would abuse it. Also, so Bones played it on PC through the Steam release. I played the Xbox version. I actually haven't touched it since I beat the game because I'm a little bit weird in this regard, I think, because even though I want to play a game sometimes, if I've beaten it already and I know I've left like nothing to chance, or I want to eventually go back for a replay, rather than let the memory sour, I'll try to like uh, nip it in the bud a little bit earlier, and I'll start playing something else. So I was enjoying Dragon's Dogma 2 so much that after I beat the main quest or whatever and I got all the achievements for it, I kind of put it in the back burner. I didn't uninstall it, mind you, but like
I
I
did the
did,
exact same thing.
I put it out in my rotation. I was like, I'm enjoying this so much. I don't want to burn myself out yet.
Yeah, I
But
did the exact same thing on my PC. I just put it back in the Steam library.
yeah, that being said, though, I did pull up Dragon's Dogma 2 again the other day just to check on my pawn, see how she's doing. Because I was a little bit worried, like, what if no one's taking her around? What if she got Dragon's Plague and I wasn't able to check in on her? People have been hiring my pawn, dude. So my pawn's name is Medea, for those who are unaware, and she gave me like 4,000 Rift crystals after I logged back on, and I was like, wow, someone's been like working you to the bone. But then
Haas
apparently
hasn't contributed anything.
anything at all.
Nothing.
Did you? Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. Well, I
I
guess it's also like people. I guess people already know what they like, and it's hard to stand out pawn wise, if that makes sense.
I made him this big tall beastren. and there was like, I mean, every single time I would get walked by in the open world, it'd be a beastron. So I can understand why nobody was picking mine.
Beefy, real beefy. Well, it's probably harder
But the
too
voice of an
because
angel,
with the voice of an
the
angel.
voice of an angel, you know exactly which voice I'm talking about.
I think the term for that is called gapmo or gapmo when there's like a gap between like perception. So it apparently there's a mod though on PC that enables you to basically have pawns stop walking up to you. I wish there was a mod for that for console, but dude, if that I'm sure like are you gonna get that eventually because it's got to get annoying for them to just
Well,
walk up to you when you're exploring and
did
you're
you see
like,
the
"Hey
recent
there."
patch notes?
I did not. Did those just come out?
I think they did about. I think they just said that they're actually going to decrease the amount of pawns that come up to you whenever you're exploring. So they're listening to people because I know that I would avoid them. I would run just. I would try to like gauge exactly how far I could get around them without having to really lose my momentum when I was moving. But yeah, run it, get them constantly, especially whenever you started getting too close to town. That it just felt like a disruption.
Oh, I felt the same way. And it would irk me sometimes too, because sometimes you'd be I don't know if this has happened to you, but like say when you're lower level and you're trying to run from a dragon and then you get stopped by a pawn. It's
Oh,
like, hey
dude.
master, I would love to serve you or whatever. Meanwhile, like my own pawn's getting her butt fried off by a dragon's breath. And I'm like,
Going
no,
door to door salesman, mid dragon attack.
right? Like, thankfully they're listening to the community and they're changing that up because my gosh, as many things as the game got right, I feel it also got a bunch of stuff wrong. And I'm a big believer in fair criticism of stuff. Just because I love something doesn't mean I can't talk a little bit of negativity around it because
What'd you
nothing's
not like?
perfect.
Yeah. What'd you not like?
What I didn't like was the story. I and the dragon. I think the story in Dragons Dogma 1 was more cohesive and made sense. Like gameplay wise, 2 I think is more fun. It's a little bit more modern in its controls, so it's a bit easier. DD1's a little bit dated now that I think about it, because I did go back to check on my old pawn after beating DD2, and yeah, I don't know, just something about it felt off. But did you know, and I know this because I'm following the Dragons Dogma subreddit, do you remember when you go into Back Batal and you're wandering around and outside a bar you get accosted by some drunks, right? And they force you to fight them like was it like 5-on-1 or something like that?
You get challenged to that duel that you can't turn down.
Yeah. And then I think after you knock one to the ground or whatever, some random stranger jumps in and he's like, "Hey, hello there. I'm a famous mercenary. I'd like to, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
I'd like to fight with you." You remember that guy?
Yeah. I do. Yes, I do.
Well, apparently he has a whole quest line. Well, by whole, I mean like 2 quests associated with him. And he's supposed to appear at the very end of the game and challenge you to a duel to the death.
And I did you take the duel?
No, because I never saw him. Outside of that first interaction, that dude never showed up in my game again.
Really?
Yeah, and so I
Wow.
was wondering like
I got
who
the
is this
duel.
guy? You got the duel.
Yeah, well, actually, it was funny because I did another quest with but well, it was I got approached by a guard when I was running around Vermund, the kingdom to the north,
Yeah.
and he had asked me for help to go do an escort mission with him, and I agreed to go do it. And then I went out and ended up having to choose a side because
Aside, what do you mean?
so you have to make a decision on who you're going to trust because the mercenary appears and he tells you that he's actually the one that's supposed to be protecting this high ranking official and that the guards are planning an attack and then they're going to frame you the arisen on for the attack. So you have to make a decision. The guards try to convince you, no, that's not true. And I actually chose to trust the mercenary and attack the guards, and ended up being correct because as soon as you do it, the guards, they have a little thing that they say to you about how it was supposed to go well or something along those lines. And then yeah, so then you have to take out the guards, and I had a whole nother interaction with him where he talked about meeting me again.
Wow, dude. Yeah, I must have completely missed that. But it's stuff like that too, because and I didn't notice it because the first time I saw him, he was kind of like a one-off character. I put him out of my mind almost immediately. But the way he talks too, and like because the game kind of hyped him up to be like super important when you first meet him there. But then he only shows up if you do that quest at the very end, and then he kind of because I didn't do the duel obviously because I only saw it in a video form, but it kind of seems like almost a joke, like that duel you have with him at the end of the game,
Oh
because
yeah, it's nothing.
he wasn't scaled to the player level or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how they came up with that final little cinematic do because you're on a bridge. You get to the top of this little stairway. You go through a gate, and there he is standing in the only direction that you can go, and he's standing there. So it's framed to be this really cinematic thing. And I think the first time I beat the game, I went through as the Mystic Archer because
Hmm.
I ended up getting the Meister skill, which I mean is essentially just you get one free kill of anything guaranteed, is the way I
Yeah.
looked at it. So even with the archery class on that little bridge, I was able to just dodge and weave around him and hit him just a few times, and then he went down.
Oh, like are your pawns not joining in for that duel then?
No, I think they respect the 1v1, dude. I think they let you just go out and just
Oh
ball out with this
wow.
dude on the bridge. They don't they don't seem to if I'm remembering correctly, they don't help you at all. Because the second time I went through, I think I went through as the Mystic Spearhand,
Oh, you fought him
and
twice?
I fought him a few times.
Oh, right, because there were two different
Yep.
endings or whatever. That's
The
right.
the first time I actually got an achievement because I felt bad for doing it, so I used a Wake Stone on him, and I got an achievement for. He was actually the first character that I used a Wake Stone on.
Oh, you got lucky in that regard then. No one important, no one quest wise that you needed to revive, man. I don't know if I told you, but the first time I ended up using a wake stone was so there's this guy in Backbatal, right? And the reason you hear about him is because some rich dude in Vermund wants a new statue. He's like a collector of statues or whatever. So you go to this guy in Backbatal and he's like, "Hey man, I make statues. What are you here for?" And you're like, "Okay, I need a statue made. This guy is requesting this." He looks at the work order and he sees that the dude wants a griffin, a statue of a griffin. So he can only draw and sculpt pretty much if something is frozen, if it's still life. So he is going to watch you basically fight a griffin.
Okay.
And he says that if possible, can you freeze it somehow? And the way to do that is to kill a Medusa, cut her head off, and use the Medusa's head to freeze the griffin in place.
Oh, so there's
But
a mission for that.
yeah, but it's like not, it doesn't really tell you that. Like it tells you a Medusa can do it, but it doesn't tell you where to go, how to cut the head off, or anything like that. It just says, oh, you could do this with a Medusa head. So, like doing that or whatever, I killed the Medusa. I ran my ass all the way back because I didn't, no port stones or anything like that. Fast travel is a pain in the butt. Ran my ass all the way there. The Medusa head is a decaying item. I think
Okay. Oh.
after each, it's not even a day. After each, so there's four phases of a day, right? Uh, there's dawn, there is noon, there's dusk, and then there's evening. Or I guess early morning counts too, but there's like four. Every time one of those passes, it loses, it decays slightly. So it starts off as like a well preserved head, and then it becomes a head, then it becomes a decayed head, then it becomes a badly decayed head. And the condition of the head is dependent on how you kill the Medusa. Because if you don't cut its head off immediately, like say you're only able to cut its head off on its last health bar, then it will be like a really badly conditioned head.
Oh.
So I had like this, as my first time doing it.
When does it stop working?
Um, it will just disintegrate eventually in your inventory.
So you can use it all the way up until it vanishes.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think every time
Okay.
you use it, it also degrades the condition. But you can freeze it by putting it in storage. But obviously that doesn't help anyone if it's in storage, right? So I busted my bare butt off, fought the Medusa, killed it. I got a decaying head because I didn't kill it correctly. And the Medusa has like I think it's like a 10-day in-game spawn time. So I'd have to wait a while for another one to come back. Killed it, ran my ass all the way back to this dude who was waiting at the griffin nest for me to fight the griffin, so he could sculpt it for this guy. I get there, no one shows up. No one's there. I wait like 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, I got stuff to do, man. Like, where's this guy at? I start looking around. I start poking the griffin's nest, the eggs, see if it will show up. Maybe something will happen. Nothing. So I'm like, okay, dude, whatever, man. I use a port crystal because I was, or a rift stone rather, because I was a little bit irritated. I went back to Back Batal, and I was like, you know what? Let me check just to make sure. I go to the morgue. This dude is dead as a doorknob, bro. He's there in the morgue. I guess while waiting for the Griffin killed him because he was just not.
Oh, dude, no.
Yeah, and without him there, I can't progress the quest. So,
I'm
uh,
assuming at this point the head was toast.
yeah, dude, the head was toast. So I was like, all right, man, whatever. I used the wake stone on him, and I go back there, walk back there, and then for whatever reason, another bug happens because as soon as I walk up to him at the griffin nest, he acts like I killed the griffin already. So I guess whatever chain of events happened, it ended up bugging out. So because he didn't get to see a frozen griffin or any fight at all, I guess he drew it from his imagination. When I finished the
Oh,
quest,
dude.
the noble was like, you know what that he was like, what the hell is this? This is trash. I can't believe I recommend it. So like it turns into this whole thing. You get paid like the bare minimum by the noble for like finding the guy.
Just for just a participation trophy.
Yeah, you get a little participation trophy, and it turns into this whole thing. So that was my lesson. I was like, okay, like before doing anything major or any quests that I actually care about or want to do, I need to make sure these people are alive. Because after him, there was like another guy too who was dead, and I had to revive him. So I've used two wake stones, I think, throughout the course of my journey.
You know, I wish I could have used a wake stone. You know the
At what
quest.
point?
You know the quest that you get when you go to the rest point check stop town. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know that when you're running past, I think it's the provisions guy, and he stops you and he's asking you to go help you find his grandson.
Yeah, dude, I remember that with the
S-
wolves.
So the first time I did it, I immediately went and started to do it, and did like as soon as I got it, run out. I wanted to find this kid. Ended up getting through it, found the kid, got him back. Boom, awesome, big thumbs up. Second playthrough I did after I knew Game Plus because I was in a rush to get to the end game. I still did it, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I went and I think I did the Jadeite Orb quest a little bit. I changed my vocation. I think I port crystalled somewhere, and then I came back, and it was the next morning, and I got that quest like early afternoon, late morning, or something like that. And I went back, did the quest as fast as I could, and got there. And have you failed it yet? Or well, failed it in parentheses, but quote
I
unquote.
I have not. I actually felt a little bit of urgency when I got that quest the first time around. Dude, it was a pain in the ass to find that location as well.
Oh, with the flowers.
Yeah, dude, because I did
Oh
it.
yeah.
I did it during the daytime, so like, I guess at night it's different because they glow, so you kind of have
Mm-hmm.
like a well lit path. But during the day, like they're just they're part of the environment. So
Well, when you fail, I ran into the cave, and I didn't think that just missing one night would be detrimental, but it's just a ripped pile of clothes that you find on the ground. No little boy, no nothing, no wakestone opportunity, just pure disappointment, pure regret.
oh man,
Yeah, dude. The game, when they give you that little hourglass, they mean it, you know.
Did you I guess it's too late now, but he was probably gonna be at the morgue though, his body.
See, I didn't check the morgue. I just figured with the tattered little clothes, because that was the mission objective. Once you picked it up, you progressed the quest. So I think the point
Oh,
was that whereas most people you can bring back because you didn't have a sense of urgency, now you got to play the rest of the game knowing that this little kid got ate the fuck up by a pack of wolves.
chomped up, not
Yeah, dude.
slopped up. Damn.
Dude, I got a question.
All right, what's up, dude? Shoot.
What was your favorite class?
My favorite class was probably thief, to be honest. Normally in games
Really?
like this, yeah, normally in games like this, I kind of prefer night classes or nightly classes. So I started the game actually as a sword and shield fighter vocation.
Okay.
It was slow as hell, bro. Like I felt like each battle was a drag. I felt like I wasn't really contributing in fights. In like a Souls game or say like any other adventure game or even For Honor, like you feel like you're doing stuff. Here, it felt like I guess it's meant to be a tank class. You're supposed to tank for your teammates, which is fine and all, but like, yeah, you really don't feel like you're doing anything. So I started Thief. Really enjoyed it. Really high damage dealing. You're fast. You can run around. You have like a really high stamina pool. So I really enjoyed it, especially that Meister skill. I think it's a little bit broken. I don't know if they're
Oh,
gonna tune
yeah.
that.
I think that's the point, though. I think it's okay to have some broken stuff in a single player game. I've never seen the issue with being able to not take damage if you have this crazy ability.
That's true. That's true. But I will say though, like, as a number two, I would say Archer because it's fun to shoot stuff and like you can kind of play around with the nuking
Wow.
abilities. And number three would be Mystic Spearhand, just
Okay.
just
Yeah, had
because
to be up
of
there.
yeah, dude. I mean, it's basically like you're an anime character when you're a Spearhand, like the way you move around.
Oh yeah, that's
You
my
like
number one. That's the reason. That's when
teleport.
I knew I was gonna buy the game. Is whenever that preview came out, that trailer, and it was showing off the Mystic Spearhand. I enjoyed Dragons Dogma 1. Unfortunately, I started the first time I played it was on the Switch, so that
Oof.
didn't last too long. But when I got it again on my PC, yeah, once I played it a good amount of it, not too much. I didn't finish it by any means. I didn't really understand what it was back then.
Mhm.
But yeah, once I saw the spear hand, I knew I was getting the game. That it just looked way too cool. Animations were slick. It was fast. The little extra projection of yourself and the ultimate ability that you get. Even that whole quest line with the spear hand is awesome.
I agree. And like the progression you have in that class, like say to get the Meister skill, right? You have to follow that dude around and then you fight a dragon with him. Like, dude, that's pretty freaking cool because that doesn't
Oh
really
yeah.
happen for the other vocations. Like the one of them for the Meister quest, it's pretty much a glorified fetch quest. Or not fetch quest, I'm sorry, escort quest.
Which one is
And
that one?
for the Magic Archer. It's a big escort quest.
Oh, with the dwarf.
Yeah, the dwarf and his wife, and like he
Well, that's
walks slow as hell.
isn't that the only way to get the class is to do the Meister quest line?
No, you can actually get the Magic Archer thing before getting the Meister skill.
I did not know that. I did the Meister mission is actually how I got the class.
Ooh, yeah, I don't remember how I got it, but I do remember having it already before getting the
Wow.
Meister skill, and I was like,
Yeah, so we did two different playthroughs
yeah,
essentially.
we'll see. That's the cool thing, right? Like all these things can happen in this game. The one thing I will say though is like the game, it makes me want to replay one, and I haven't replayed. So one is meant to be played multiple times, right? Like you only get the real ending of the game after beating it twice, plus the DLC. So for my current character in Dragon's Dogma 1, I've beaten the game once, and it's like prime and ready for another playthrough for New Game Plus or whatever with my over leveled character. And I don't know, it's ready, it's waiting there. I just haven't gone around to it yet, but I am excited to go through that eventually. Maybe when the backlog clears a little bit, because there is a bunch out right now, man.
Yeah, backlog is never clear, dude. I I jumped off of Dragon's Dogma 2 before I could, because I'm just like you, what you were talking about earlier with how you don't want to leave a game like that with a rotten taste in your mouth. I did the same thing with Breath of the Wild, Tears of the
Mhm.
Kingdom. I didn't 100% either one of those games, but I had the same feeling with those games as I did playing Dragon's Dogma 2. So whenever it was time to put it down, even though I wasn't done with everything, I didn't want to mess anything up, but I jumped right off into Rise of the Ronin, and I didn't finish Rise of the Ronin because Fallout 4 came out, dude. The backlog is never done.
Ooh, so are you just pausing Rise of the Ronin then, or concentrating on Fallout 4 for the next gen update? If you guys haven't heard, by the way, Fallout 4 has a next gen update released by Bethesda for the PS5, Xbox Series, and the PC. I don't think PC really needed it per se, but like
No,
I guess it's
this
just
was definitely for the consoles.
yeah, it got it though, and it's more support, so like whatever.
Have you played it yet on your Xbox?
I have not yet. I actually replayed Fallout 4. I did the Far Harbor DLC probably about um, last November. Like I, for whatever reason, like it was after Star or before Starfield.
Okay,
Before Starfield came out, I had this really
another great Bethesda
big.
title. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, exactly. I had a well, I totally agree. This is Starfield neutral ground, guys. I know some people don't like it, but hey, we loved it here.
Pro
But
Starfield.
before it came out though, I had this big itch to play Bethesda game because there's nothing really like them, right? Like some games can try to emulate them all they want, but like it's a Bethesda game is a Bethesda game. And in the lack of Starfield, because everyone was thirsty for it before it came out, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna play Fallout 4. There's a bunch of DLC I haven't done yet, so I got in and I did the Far Harbor DLC, which was actually very good. I think you have it because you got the Game of the Year edition,
I
correct?
haven't played it yet. Yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet. Obviously I played Fallout 4 when it first came out, but
Mhm.
I was active duty, so I got in as much time as I could. But by the time the DLC came out, I wasn't able to play as much.
Oh
But I've
yeah.
got it now, so I'm gonna. Well, that in the Nuka World, I've got everything. I ended up picking up the battle pass for uh, Fallout 4 when it was on sale.
Oh, and guys, I will add this a little bit here. I think I've mentioned before. I'm a former active duty Marine, so I'm a Marine veteran. Bones here is former active duty sailor, so he is a sailor veteran. Just a little bit of background info for us. So going back to Fallout 4 though, are you making a new character? Are you going to town with like a leveled one? Like what's going on?
Well, the first time I played on my PC, and this one I wanted to play on my console,
Hmm.
just to play it up on. I like playing RPGs like that on TVs. I think the big open world ones are just meant to be played on a controller on a couch. That's just how I like to do it. So I wanted to play it on my PlayStation. So I got it, made a new character, started a started a survival mode run, um, and it lasted, I don't know, like 45 minutes maybe.
Yeah, dude, you couldn't catch me dead with a survival game, bro.
Dude, no, it was unforgiving. I was walking out trying to interact with people, and I'd try to use my charisma because I always like to make the characters really charismatic. So I'd always try my luck, and
Hmm.
I was just one point where I was stuck in this infinite loop of getting caught on the road trying to talk my way out of something and just getting shot in my head and dying after like one or two shots, and eventually I just gave up. I just looked at Cal and I said, nope, I'm out of here. See ya. Set it back to very hard mode, and even that was too difficult. I was ending up, wasting magazines on super mutants. So I've settled on hard. I won't be leaving hard. I considered starting over and doing survival, but yeah, no, I'm gonna play my Fallout game on hard difficulty. That's where I'll be.
Okay, I will say this though because like this, I mean you've already beaten the game, but you haven't touched the DLC yet. The Nuka World DLC, is really really hard if you're lower level, especially if you don't have good equipment or whatever. It's really tough. But if you're not, I went into it as a max level character. Like it's yeah, it's kind of a joke at that point. But it's a whole new area, whole
Huh.
new quests or whatever. They have this little faction thing that goes on. You can't be a good guy in Nuka World. I'll say that. Like every because it has factions as well. It has like mini factions
Dude,
in
I
Nuka
can't
World.
be a good guy in a Bethesda
Yeah.
game in general.
Oh, for real, dude. I always
Yeah,
try to
man.
be a good guy
Oh,
at first, man.
absolutely. I do that for a full-time job, dude. No, when I'm playing my video games, if I, you know what I mean? If I can get a little nasty, if I can get mean, I like to choose all the threatening ones, the intimidation, all those perks. I like to do it and just, muscle my way through the video games.
Oh, trust, dude. Like, well, I don't mean like being a pushover. Like I like the what do you call that from Mass Effect, where you're not the goody two shoes. Do you remember what
Never
that's
played
called?
Mass Effect. Wasn't that an Xbox exclusive?
Get out, bro. Tell me no. You've
I've
played
never,
Mass Effect, right?
I've never played a
What?
single Mass Effect title.
Oh, dude. It got remastered. Well, not remastered. Yeah, it got remastered as the Mass Effect Legendary Edition trilogy. So the
Hmm.
first one was an Xbox exclusive for like I want to say until the PS4 came out. When the PS4 came out, I think it got a it got a release there, I think. But dude, yeah, you should get it. I don't care if like PC, PlayStation, whatever. You can get a copy for pretty cheap nowadays actually, I think. But yeah, you'll have a whole trilogy of like the best space RPG sim. Oh man, I know you love Baldur's Gate 3 as
Oh
well.
yeah, man.
Like you will fall in love with Mass Effect. The first one is obviously the first one, so it's not as strong as the later entries, but
I heard two is the prodigy.
so two is my favorite personally. But
Hmm.
man, I already know what you're gonna lose yourself in once you play it, man. I I, I,
You know,
I, I know you, bro. I know you as a gamer. Like I already know you're gonna love it.
dude, like I said, man, the backlog is forever. I need to beat Rise of the Ronin, but I also need to beat Fallout because I have this weird thing where
Mm.
because the DLC came out after the game in my little head canon that I've made up, the DLC takes place after the game. So I have to beat the game first.
Oh, like that. I mean, that was the case for a lot of DLCs, I think, in the past. So that's fair to think that way. But I mean, you've already beaten the game technically, though, right? Like on another platform, obviously.
Well,
So
I
it should
mean,
be
can
fair to jump in, right?
what is the definition of beating a Bethesda game? Because I mean, I chose I chose the Minutemen my first playthrough. Yeah, dude, I was Preston Garvey's little fucking helper.
How did you choose
Um,
the Minutemen if you said you like to be a jerk or an asshole in
oh,
Bethesda games, man?
dude, I
That dude is the
sometimes
softest
the
dude in the
most
wasteland, bro.
annoying character. I actually have a I've got my Nick Valentine Funko Pop over here next to me by my desk.
Oh, actually, I will say if you like Nick Valentine, he is very. Take him with you when you do the Far Harbor DLC. I will say that
Okay.
he has like it gets a little bit into his backstory in that island.
Oh, I'm so down for that. He's one of my favorite. He's my favorite companion from Fallout 4. Just like Boone is my favorite companion from Fallout New Vegas. I've got a favorite companion from each Fallout game that I've played. Well, really, again here, Bethesda games in general.
I've never really used companions in Fallout.
Yeah, I know I seem to be the more people that I talk to about Fallout and Skyrim, I seem to be the minority in companions. Do not know many people that like to bring companions with them. I always have, as in Fallout New Vegas, you can bring the dog and a companion. I'm always rolling around with as many people in my squad as possible
Just rolling deep.
every single time.
Yeah, dude. Like, so don't get me wrong. For the Elder Scrolls, yeah, I did take a companion, especially because carry weight was like a big thing, and there was that DLC Vampire Bride that you met that Bethesda wrote really well but wouldn't let you marry her, Serana. So she was my yeah, I tried. So she was my companion for Skyrim after that came out or whatever. But for whatever reason, Fallout 3, I think I had dog meat for a while, but I sent him home because I don't know, there's just something about traveling the wasteland that just feels better, I guess, because it's supposed to be more solitary, I think. Like the mood's different when you're alone. Like when you don't even have a companion with you to hear their banter or their them breathing or fighting or whatever. If it's just you, like the game feels a bit darker and I wouldn't say more lonely, but it just definitely feels
a,
different.
a grittier feel.
A grittier feel. And
Yeah, see,
there
I like the edge that the companions take off.
hmm,
Especially like in New Vegas, as you progressed with each character that you chose to, the banter would become more in depth, and they'd start talking more sometimes.
true, true. Yeah, see, New Vegas, I took the perk that I think you got either a higher damage rating or a higher you took less damage if you were alone.
You
I
did the
do
same thing in Starfield, didn't you?
no Starfield. I was wandering around with Sarah, my wife. I was taking her everywhere, man. Granted, like after we got married, I was like, all right, I'm gonna raise someone else's affection value. So I was going around with pretty much the whole crew except for Barrett. Barrett's the only one I didn't take around. He
Oh,
got
I
a
always kept him on the ship. He had good stats.
yeah, like for whatever reason, like I don't know. Maybe no, that can't be right because I took Sam Coe around. Yeah, he's really the only one I didn't take around. Everyone else got a turn around the universe with me, but him, like I don't know.
Barrett was
Just
holding
wasn't
it
feeling
down
him.
at the lodge.
Pretty much, pretty
He
much.
he was doing important work back there.
So is that what your backlog is then after Fallout 4? You're gonna jump into Rise of the Ronin again?
Realistically, what I'll probably end up doing is one of these days, probably maybe this weekend, maybe next weekend, who knows. Um, just getting back into the game and absolutely slamming story missions. Just
Hmm.
trying to get to the very end of the game, just so I can see where the story gets off at. Because it is a thicker story than I initially anticipated, and also when it comes to as people love to talk about, and whenever they talk about the game, the Assassin's Creed style maps that they have, the Ubisoft brand.
Yep.
I like to go around and do all the camps and all the fugitives and find all the cats and take all the pictures. I like doing stuff like that, but that's kind of how I burn myself out because I already have 60 hours in the game. So
Yeah.
and I still haven't beat it.
No, that's fair. I mean, that's why they put those things in the games to begin with, right? Like stuff to do, stuff to see. Like I so my favorite Assassin's Creed game of the last decade or so, or the original. Well, I don't even know how many games are in the series now, man. But Odyssey, I really liked Odyssey a lot, but
Ooh,
I burned myself out because
ooh.
you're right. You have to get all the points of interest, like, and the map has doesn't have a shortage of those, man. They're everywhere. So I ended up burning myself out, and I stopped the game after I don't even know how many hours, but the last thing I had to do was basically find all the treasure that's like locked underwater. You have to swim against the sharks for, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna do this right now. Like I've got other games to play, other things to see,
Yeah,
other
I couldn't do
stories to
Odyssey.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't vibe with Odyssey.
yeah,
I'm
you're
about
more of a Valhalla guy.
Yeah, I'm a Valhalla Assassin's Creed guy. I like how it has practically nothing to do with Assassin's Creed lore. It's just the story of this dude and his clan. I'm a big proponent of Ubisoft just continuing with that formula where they just make a decent enough story with fun Assassin's Creed combat, and then you can do some Assassin's Creed stuff on the side and just remind me every couple hours, just remind me that I'm actually still playing an Assassin's Creed game. I was down for that.
See, I kind of hope that they would maybe just take the formula but not even use the Assassin's Creed IP. I guess they would never do that because
Yeah.
obviously there's brand recognition and brand
Mm-hmm.
power in Assassin's Creed. but they, it's not like it's not fun. Their formula or whatever. Like, granted, it can get tiring after a while, but I mean, it works. Like, it's an addicting gameplay loop. Like, you explore an area, see what's there to see, like,
Mm-hmm.
kill whatever baddies are
Yep,
there.
fight some people because the combat's good enough to keep you coming back.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
all you really need. Give me a decent amount of weapons, a skill tree or two, and just let me run around and do my thing.
Yeah, after I don't know, I think I told you, but I never beat Valhalla. I know you loved it, but like I don't know, there was just
Oh,
something about it that got me to stop playing.
yeah, I made it to the end. I beat it. Went on to do. I didn't do any of the DLC other than the Ragnarok DLC,
Hmm.
and I actually don't know if I beat that. But yeah, I made it all the way through.
Maybe I should make that my one of my goals for the year. Just finally go back, beat it, purge it from my backlog. Because I think if I recall, I'm like 75% of the main story is done. And then there are those DLCs that I got on sale. I don't even know why I bought them. I think it was just because they were on sale. And I was like, you know what? You'll probably get around to these at some point.
You had the thought that everybody has whenever you're scrolling through Steam and the spring sale is on and you see something for $3.99 that you considered one time 2 years ago, but you see it for so cheap that you feel the need to get it.
I mean, dude, I did that today. I did that today, man. I saw a deal for it was like a Star Wars bundle. So it was Star Wars Battlefront 2, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 1,
I'm assuming the
and
reboot Battlefront 2.
yeah, the reboot Battlefront. Well,
Okay.
not no, not the reboot. The one that's not the remaster. It's like so it came out a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
because the remaster just came out this year, I think, or a few months ago.
Yeah,
But
that
this
was the
was like,
OG remaster. You're talking about the ones made in the Dice engine with the Battlefield engine.
yeah, that one.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it has that one, and it has the remaster of the one where you're in X-wing jets and you're like flying in space or whatever. That one was a remaster. I believe they were selling it for $40 for that one title. But anyway, 3 games plus the deluxe edition or whatever for Jedi Fallen Order, the deluxe upgrade that these companies always love to sell us. The whole
Hmm.
thing, they sold it to me for $8.
Yeah, you see how you're losing money by not picking it up.
Yeah, like I can't even remember when I would play any one of those because my my backlogs. I already beat Jedi Fallen Order on stream once.
Dude,
Like this,
I could scroll through my backlog and remind myself of how many deals I had to have that I still haven't played.
yeah. I mean, dude, the second Jedi Fallen Order is about to hit Game Pass too, and like I'll have to play that too. But then there's other things I need to play as well, man. Like, I don't know. Like, it's something, all right. But I think it's a good problem to have because I can remember a time when I was much younger in school, and I'd come home because we weren't like really rich growing up, right? For me and my family, especially when I was in high school, we weren't we we were comfortable for where we were at, but we were nowhere near rich. And so and I guess that's supposed to be normal, where you only buy like maybe 1 or 2 games a year. So that's what we were like for me.
Really?
Yeah, me and my brother back in the day. So we would only get like maybe 1 or 2 games a year, like maybe one on my birthday and then one on Christmas. And then if I wanted to play anything else, I'd have to haggle with my friends to like trade or borrow or do stuff like that. And so I remember like having all the time to play and not enough stuff to play. So I would just end up replaying the same
Oh
thing
yeah.
over and over again. And then now that I'm older, there's so much to play and not enough time. I really want to just take a vacation and like
Yeah.
stay in and like just play games and like not do anything, man. Turn my brain off aside
Oh
from the
yeah, man.
story. I think I might do that though. If not this year, then next year. I actually kind of want to do that. So
Oh,
did
just
you?
take some time and do a little staycation. Just start
Yeah.
clearing out the log.
So I had one time in my life where something similar to that happened. Do you remember COVID? It
Yes,
wasn't that long ago.
vividly.
Yeah. Well, at work, I won't get into too much detail about this, but basically, a few months before COVID was like, uh, before like it was like really big. I can't even remember the names of the variants off the top of my head, but there was a scare at work where they said, "Oh, you were exposed by contact with this person. You were supposed to show up to work, but you can't. So take the week off and take a test. Let us know how you feel." So
Yeah,
I
man.
basically got put on a forced staycation. I was like, all right, I'll be
How did that
good.
feel?
It felt pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Like I
Oh
played
yeah.
a whole bunch of Fatal Frame. I streamed every day. I was doing all sorts of stuff. Granted, I couldn't leave my house because like no one knew anything about COVID back then, so we were all terrified. I had to order food. Like, I mean, it was an expensive week food wise, but like I had fun, and I think I could do that again. Maybe not a whole week or a week and a
Oh,
half or whatever it was, but
I
like
mean, yeah, it can be much.
yeah, but do like I don't know, like 2 days, 3 days, just to like jump at it. I kind of want to do that again.
I I think the last time I did where I had an extended period of time off like that, I think I was playing God of War, um, Ragnarok.
Hmm.
So that was pretty recently. But yeah, it's always nice to be able to sit down and do something like that.
Was that something you took leave for as well, or was that like
No,
not really?
just no, just a coincidental number of things that lined up to give me an extended period of time off.
Hmm. Because I will say, like, I do think it's fine to use vacation days to play stuff that you really want. Like when Starfield came out, I was very excited about it.
Oh yeah.
I pretty sure I took off a day of work just to play it, and I did enjoy my time with it. So I'd say that was time well spent, leave well spent. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that again this year. I don't think there's anything coming out this year that I'm like that hyped about. But I don't know, man. That's a tradition that I've carried since I was a much younger bear. I did it for Halo 3, 4, the Gears of War games, so at least like once every year. Even when I was in the Marine Corps, I was active duty. I remember, and Halo 4 came out. Was it Halo? It was one of the other Halos, and I took leave for it. And I remember playing in my barracks room, and my company gunnery sergeant walked in doing room inspections. He's like, "Private Bear, what are you doing in here?" I was like, "I'm on leave, Gunny." Showed him my paperwork, and he was like, "All right, carry on or whatever."
Oh yeah. The only time you don't get an ass chewing for something like that.
Yeah, I was like, "Thank God I put in the that because they." I feel like because I didn't go off base, sometimes you'll have leadership that won't respect your thing. They'll be like, "Okay, even though you're on leave, you're still on base, so I'm gonna use you to do these tasks or whatever." But like, thankfully, my company like respected my thing. I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay here, not gonna hurt anyone, not gonna do party or whatever. I'm just gonna play my game on my Xbox and have fun." So, but yeah, so it's been about almost an hour, guys.
Yeah, it went by really
We
quick.
yeah, we initially thought we would do about 30 minutes or so just chatting. So I think we said when we were speaking about this before, you want to try doing a conversation like this maybe twice a month. I think weekly might be a bit too difficult to pull off. But what do you think?
I think maybe every 2 weeks. If there's something that we just want to chop it up about, we don't have to we don't have to stick to anything super strict. But I think on average, maybe once every 2 weeks, we can gather a collection of things to come in here. Mostly, I'd assume video games to come in here and just conversate about. So I think that's a pretty good idea.
Okay, that works for me. So yeah, I do have some ideas for future episodes. Like I know for Destiny 2, I am curious about it. I refuse to play Destiny at this point, but I am
Yep.
interested in hearing about what happens. So whenever that comes out, I think we should invite Few on, have a
Yeah.
conversation with him about Destiny 2, about what's going on with the community and the game. because it's always interesting to hear about that stuff from people that know what they're talking about.
And
And
if we're looking for indie, we got people in indie games that they play. We got our veteran buddies that we can come on here and just talk about our time in the military, stuff like that. Whole
yeah,
bunch of stuff, just a big old conversation.
we'll chop it up, not slop it up. But all right, guys, that's gonna be it for tonight. Like I said, this is pre-recorded, so it might not be night for you guys. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and yeah, we'll catch you later.
See you.
See ya. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe. Thanks.
Smash that like button. Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.